Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Oh, hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's Friday, got a great show, got a lot to talk about today. We got the corn dog, JC himself. We'll do our Peachland Dentistry weekend Super Bowl picks. And then we're going to have Frank Frangie, the voice of the Jacksonville Jaguars, join us second part of the show. Get his thoughts on the NFL. I believe the Jags played both of these teams. And also Tony Baselli, his sidekick in the booth, finally gets into the National Football League's Hall of Fame. Long time. Wow. JC, I'm gonna bring this up with Frangie. Okay. Do you know what there's I don't know how to phrase this question. It's not a question, it's more of a statement. I don't know if you know this. I'm gonna ask you, it's a trivia question. What do Tony Baselli and I have in common? We both have done something that only maybe a handful of male human beings have ever done.
Wow. Okay. Well,
that gives you a lot to choose from, right?
Yeah. I mean, playing football in the NFL is one of those things.
No. I'm talking like a very small percentage of males go into this publication.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You got me. What is it? Give me.
Tony Baselli and I were Playboy All-Americans. We were being in Playboy. How about that, JC?
Wow. Well, that is a collector's item for sure. Well, that's good. You know, Baselli, what is the story? Now, I happen to keep it up with the Hall of Fame vote. I know Torrey Holt didn't get it. Is Tony Baselli? I think Baselli has been nominated.
He's been up for a long time. A lot of people think he's one of the greatest left tackles to ever play the game, but they held it against him, A, because he played for the Jags, B, he had a short career because of injuries.
Oh, right.
But he got in. Leroy Butler got in.
He did get in. Okay.
Dick Vermeil got in.
Yeah.
Richard Seymour got in. So congratulations to all those guys. And then if you missed it, Andrew Whitworth was your NFL Man of the Year. Google his acceptance speech. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, Walter Payton Man of the Year. That's a great award. And he really, when I watched that video of him accepting that award and giving his speech, that it was not scripted or written down. He just looked at everybody in the eyes and talked to them for about 5 minutes, and it was pretty impressive. So he's one of the more popular guys, and certainly is a guy that's played on the Cincinnati Bengals for most of his career, and now for the Rams. And he held out. When he was traded to the Rams, he had to play 3 years in the LA Coliseum before they could move into this other building. And last year they didn't have fans. So this is the only year out of the last 5 years that he's been playing in Los Angeles that he's been able to play in front of LA fans in that new building. And every year you think the guy's going to retire, and he just comes back. So good for him. And, hopefully he'll play a big role in the game on Sunday.
Yep, no doubt about it. If you miss it, Lady Gators go on the road again.
It's another day
against Mississippi State. So, man, they just keep it rolling right along. And then Gators play tomorrow at 4:00 against the Kentucky Wildcats in Rupp Arena. Don't like our chances, but you never know. Softball cranks up today down in Tampa at the USF Invitational. They got the Redbirds of Illinois State. Seems like they play them the first game of the year every year down there.
Every year.
And then gymnastics is at LSU, I believe. Tennis is playing Virginia. So track and field somewhere. But, man, Kelly Ray Finley and the girls just continue to win.
They're down at halftime, right? They're on the road, and they're losing at halftime. And I look over and I go, they will win this game by either 10 points or more in the second half. And that's what happened. I mean, she has just got the girls believing. And regardless of how far they go in the NCAA tournament this year, this season has been another resounding success for that whole program as a whole. And I'm on board, and I hope that most fans can get on board for this team, and this coach will be given a nice long contract.
Yep. I'm looking at our golf picks for the waste management. You picked John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, and Kevin Streelman. I have Hideki Matsuyama, Xander Schauffele, and Troy Merritt. The leader is Sahith Theegala. He's an American, believe it or not.
He looks like Tony Finau.
Huh?
He reminds me of Tony Finau, this guy.
Yeah. There's Koepka. Koepka shot 5 under yesterday. I'm looking. Oh, one of my guys is tied for 7th. That would be the X-Man.
Where's
Rahm
at? How high
Rahm is tied with him.
Okay, well, there we go. We always seem to pick at least one golfer that's right on top near each other. That's how good we are at this.
Hideki Matsuyama is only those two guys that we just mentioned are 4 under. Hideki's 3 under.
Yeah.
So Scotty Scheffler's 3 under. Good going there, JC. So I don't know where our Streelman and our Troy Merritts of the world are, but we'll see if they make the cut. But that's golf this weekend at the Waste Management. Which if you're not a golf fan, this is one tournament that you may enjoy watching because is it hole 16 or 17?
It's 16. It's 16. Number 16.
It's a par 3, and they surround the entire. It's almost like playing a little par 3 inside the swamp.
Yeah,
because it is completely surrounded by tall grandstands, and they hoop and holler. And I've never understood why they don't do that at every golf tournament.
Me too. I mean, gosh, you get away with it in Phoenix, you may get away with it in Akron, Ohio. I love it. I mean, I think it's one of the hallmark things of the golf tour.
I love our listeners. Okay. Well, first of all, Cliff says men's basketball team better drastically improve their perimeter shooting to beat Kentucky. We don't have the size, athleticism, or anything. If we beat Kentucky, it may be one of the best wins the school's ever had. I mean, Kentucky is loaded this year. All right. So John says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law, we all know JC is such a loyal Mississippi State baseball fan.
Oh, yeah.
Insert sarcasm, he says. Ask him who they play in their opening weekend series this week, next week.
I don't know. I didn't even know the season was starting.
Next week. They start next week.
Yeah, I've been asked by people if I want to go see them play the Gators in April and or whatever it is. Yeah, April. Or is it May? It's probably May. I mean, I've got folks who are telling me that they are making plans to fly to Starkville and go watch the Gators play a 3-game series at Dudy Noble because they just want to be a part of that environment.
I didn't know the Gators were playing there this year, but I will tell every Gator fan on this podcast around the world, if you've never been to Dudy Noble, you need to pack up your truck and go to that series because there is nothing like it in college baseball. Nothing.
I've had two Gator baseball fans already tell me they are planning to take that trip. They're going to fly into Jackson. The other place you can fly into, which literally 15 minutes from the ballpark, is called Golden Triangle. It's an airport in Columbus, Mississippi. GTR is the symbol. Fly into there, and you are 15 minutes from campus. That is a great place to get into Starkville, but it's a little bit more pricey than if you go into Jackson. But if you can make the trip to see that series with Florida and Mississippi State, don't pass it up. It's going to be just going to be something you've never seen in your life. It's unbelievable.
Hey folks, Rat Spot's expanding. Yeah. It's opening its second location at 1931 North Main Street. They've teamed up with Vibrant Vinyl Works to offer color change wraps, advertising wraps, custom striping, hood wraps, and wall wraps. And they're in the process of wrapping JC's Corvette, where he can just, at the snap of his fingers, it can go from a Rams decal.
Oh no! What happened?
Right? Did we lose you?
I lost you for a second.
Did the fireplace burn down your internet service?
No, it's the internet, sir. Yeah, it might. The router's right over there anyway. No, I think you said something about where's the first place I can go get my Corvette wrapped and what now?
No, I said that they're going to wrap your car where you can snap your fingers. That it can go immediately from a Rams decal
Yeah. Well,
if they lose, it goes straight to a Cincinnati Bengals decal.
Okay. Well, speaking of the Rams, Sean McVay is only 36 years old. He's a very young coach, QB, and he's already got a coaching tree. Check this out. There are four former NFL or former McVay assistants that are now becoming head coaches in the NFL. Can you name three of them?
Well, Zach Taylor's one. The guy's coaching against.
Yes, that's correct.
I think that's the only one I can name.
Brandon Staley is the Chargers coach. He was the Rams defensive coordinator last year. Matt LaFleur is the Green Bay Packers coach. And this guy, Kevin O'Connell, will become the Vikings' next head coach. He is the current Rams OC. So 4 guys in the NFL from Sean McVay's coaching staff.
Where did the Dolphins' new coach come from?
Mike he
came from San Fran.
Yes, San Francisco. And I'll tell you what, folks are going to love this dude. He is really engaging. He is fun to listen to. I think the Dolphins got a steal in this guy. I think they're going to be really happy with him. He is extremely intelligent. I think he went to Stanford, but
he went to Yale.
Or Yale, excuse me, same thing. You're going to love him in Miami. I mean, the way he handles the media is hilarious. It is.
Well, that could be great, but he can't coach a lick. We'll see.
Look, if you're Kyle Shanahan's OC, I think you got something.
Okay, let me just tell you something.
Go ahead.
He didn't call one damn play for the 49ers.
Okay? He helped.
Okay, but I'm just telling you, he didn't call one damn play for the 49ers.
And by the way, QB, another note. Did you know that, so the Rams have played in 3 Super Bowls. Not one LA Rams quarterback has thrown a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl.
Vince Ferragamo couldn't get it done?
He didn't throw a touchdown pass.
Jared Goff didn't do it?
He did not throw a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. And, of course, we all know that Kurt Warner played in St. Louis. So that's another thing. Matthew Stafford could become the first LA Rams quarterback to throw a touchdown pass. I thought that was very interesting.
Chris says here on Facebook Live, he wants to know how old Matt Stafford. He said he's probably older than his coach. They're about the same age, aren't they?
He's 33. He's 33 or 34. He's
Tebow's age. He and Tebow came out the same year.
So he's early 30s.
And I'll never forget, I think you and I may have been doing a radio show at that time on air, and I got blasted. Just like hate mail because I said how good Matt Stafford was and he was going to be in the NFL a long time.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I got my car keyed.
Well,
because I told him that he was going to be a better pro than Tebow. And people did not like that.
Well, because people just are people. But, here he is about to win him a Super Bowl. So,
John says on Facebook Live, being Kyle Shanahan's OC is like Dan Lanning getting the Oregon job because he was Kirby's DC and with Kirby and Muschamp there. I mean, it's similar. I mean, that's what happens. But we'll see. I don't know how good this guy's going to be in Miami, but we'll find out.
I think a lot of it has to do with how you interview. I really believe that.
Which is dumb. Which is the dumbest thing I have ever heard of. And Coach Berger tell you the same thing, maybe because he and I think alike, but interviewing has nothing to do with coaching football.
But I think
nothing.
But the people doing the hiring, I think it matters to them.
Because they're used to the corporate world interviews and they want to hear all the BS. Like I said, there have been thousands of coaches that are great interviews, and they last about a year or two. Give me a guy that ain't worth a damn interviewing, and I bet he can coach football.
Well, I think the guys who are bad interviews that you're just talking about, a lot of people can coach football, right? But the guys who are bad interviews are the ones who get jobs. So you don't know who they are or how many there are. But I do think owners, when they make an investment and they pick the leader of their biggest investment, which is their team, in many cases, not all, but many, they want to know the guy a little bit. Okay.
Well, think about how many have been fired.
Huh?
Think about how many of them have been fired.
Yeah, of course. For everyone who's been fired, there's been one hired. It's the same thing. So it's the same number. So
I just think my personal opinion is I think that is so overrated. But that's just my opinion. All right. So JC, I've just lost my train of thought.
I got some props for you. I got all kinds of Peachland Dental stuff on the Super Bowl.
Okay, let's go ahead. As I mentioned, Gators at Kentucky tomorrow, 4:00 game. We'll see. Like I said, folks, Kentucky, this is one of the best John Calipari teams I've seen in years.
Now, what about that player that got hurt the other night against, when they played South Carolina? Is he gone for the year? Do you know?
Say that one more time.
The player that got hurt at South Carolina, is he out for the year?
Oh, the Obi Toppin's little brother.
Yeah.
I am not sure.
Okay.
It did not look good. I'd heard he was out for, I don't know if he's out for the year, but we don't know. I mean, they got plenty of dudes. Trust me.
They do. And, I think this year, the thing I love about basketball this year, as opposed to maybe last year, when it was very top heavy as to who really had a chance, because all the talk last year, including with you, was the greatest team in history, Gonzaga. And then, of course, we had Baylor and all these, a couple others maybe who had a chance. This year, I think you got 10 to 15 teams that really have a chance. I really think you can separate between 10 to 15 teams that can easily win it all this year, easily. And so I think that makes it really interesting for the NCAA tournament and in March, because there are a lot of really good teams, and it's a lot of parity in the NCAA basketball.
Well, you know why that is?
Tell me why that is.
Transfer portal.
Well, yeah. I mean, it could be. But
It's a fact. I mean, if you sit down and watch basketball, or just pull up, when you get ready to sit down, pull up the team's rosters and see where those kids played the previous year. It's crazy.
And why can't that be the case for football either? I mean,
because here's the thing. You'll never have parity in college football, ever. There's 10 to 15 teams that are going to dominate. College basketball, you can have the mid-majors, the Loyolas of the world, the Butlers of the world, because all you need is one or two players out of your starting five that can carry you to the Final Four. John wants to know, how about the Clemson kid taking out the Duke kid on a fast break, and Coach K goes and puts his arm around the Clemson kid? Yeah, that was a scary. I actually saw that live. I flipped the channel, and I've never seen anything like that.
I thought the
kid did not mean to do it. He went over there and he apologized, and Coach K gave him a hug, and he was thrown out of the game. He'll probably be suspended. It was one of the worst fouls I've ever seen.
Well, but again, like you said, I don't think there was intent. It was a collision, and the guy, he couldn't hold on to the rim to protect himself, and he fell straight down from 10 feet.
The guy just basically took him out. I mean, he didn't even go for the ball or anything, so he wasn't thinking clearly, obviously, and felt horrible after it. But it was.
I mean, maybe what he did was intentional, but I don't think he meant to really hurt the guy. So.
Well, did you see it live? Did you see it, JC?
I saw a replay.
So you have seen it?
Yeah, I did. I'm just glad he didn't hit it. It looked like he hit his shoulder and his back before his head cracked. But he walked off. So, I mean,
we got a couple of Facebook. We got some Titan MRI text lines here. Unlike JC, I have no real rooting interest in this game. Just hoping we don't get another 13-3 snoozer like the Rams' last Super Bowl appearance. The Bengals story is great, and I'd love to see Evan McMoney drill a game winner, but I fear we're going to see a repeat of last year's game when Mahomes was running for his life. I kind of agree. This is about the worst O-line in football versus the best D-line, and it could get ugly for Burrows if they can't keep him upright. Thanks for the text line. But here's the thing. How many times have I told you that a quarterback that is knowledgeable and understands football can make up for a poor offensive line from a timing standpoint, knowing where his protection is, knowing where his hots are? Burrow has done that. It's not – if JC and Ryan knows that the Bengals offensive line ain't very good, the Bengals know that. So I'm hoping – I think Zach Taylor's a pretty good coach, and I'm hoping that Zach Taylor – make some adjustments by chipping, keeping your tight end in to help protection. There's a lot of things you can do.
They run a lot.
Clearly, on paper, they have zero chance of blocking the Rams.
Yeah,
zero.
In Cincinnati, all year long, watch them. They play with a lot of empty backfields. Lots. That's primarily what they do. So, yeah. I tell you, another thing is I think we're going to see a lot of – I think the running game – I think they're going to run the ball a lot in this game. I don't think that you're going to see a circus act. I don't think it's going to be an air show. I don't. I think it'll be a lot of – I think there'll be some running, and the defenses will play a big role in this game. Maybe not.
David says this is the worst O-line I've ever seen. Yeah, but like I told you, scheming and the quarterback can make up for that. Yeah, the Rams are better at pretty much every position, but the Bengals will find a way, is what John says. We'll see. On this Titan MR text from Gary, he says, Jim Moore Jr. killed his interview with the Falcons, but look how that turned out, JC.
Yeah. Well, I have no doubt, but I do think these owners – well, anyway, we talked about that already. I think Cincinnati can neutralize that pass rush by running Joe Mixon. I mean, he's the best running back in the game. He is the best running back on the field. They better hand it to him or give it to him some kind of way to protect Burrow. In a lot of ways, they can do that because, he's their biggest weapon. Now, interestingly enough, he has not scored many touchdowns in the playoffs. So I think they're going to really look to get Joe Mixon involved in this game.
All right, let's get to our Peachland Dentistry. Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com. We're going to do our Super Bowl picks. JC's got some props. Before we get to that, Andy asked on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law. Have y'all seen the new Manning Super Bowl commercials for Pepsi? Hilarious. I've seen a couple of them where I don't even know the song they're singing in that. Do you know that song, JC?
I don't.
That Eli screaming on the bus with Jerome Bus driving. I've never even heard that song in my life.
Yeah,
so I don't get it.
Yeah, commercials. When the commercials come on, I hit mute or I go and get up and do something. I can't take it. It puts me to sleep. All right, well, QB, let's get this pick thing going if you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right, Rams are 4.5-point favorites. You're going to take your beloved Bengals?
No, I like the Rams. I don't think this game's going to be close, personally.
Really?
I just think the Rams they're just a better football team. So I like the Rams.
Okay, over under is 48.5. Which way are you going there? I'm going under.
I will take the over because I think the Bengals will get behind. They'll throw a bunch.
So under is coming 3 years in a row.
And over, what does that have anything to do with this game?
I'm giving you some trends here. Trends.
Some trends.
Added value stuff here, QB.
Okay.
It's come in 3 times in a row for all of you trend people, but the over has come in 5 of the last 6 times before that. Does that help you at all?
No, because it has no bearing on this football game. That's the funny thing to me, how people always talk about this team has not beaten that team in 22 straight games. Well, damn, none of these guys on this team had anything to do with 20 years ago. I've never understood that.
I get it. All right, now this seems to be – so a lot of the prop bets are goofy ones. Coin flip heads or tails. How long is the national anthem? What color is the Gatorade going to be splashed on the coach? Is it blue? Is it orange? Whatever it is. Some of the stuff, there's some real quacky. I'm not going to delve into that, but I will give you a couple of props that I find interesting.
Hang on a second, Jason. I'm getting blasted on here because I picked the Chiefs to beat the Bengals. I'm not right about everything, folks. If I was, I wouldn't be doing this damn podcast.
Well, you didn't even have the Chiefs in the championship. All right, you didn't even have them in the Super Bowl, so you're really bad. All right.
Well, I had the Buffalo Bills playing the St. Louis Rams back in August. With the Buffalo Bills beating the Rams. That
would be the LA Rams. St. Louis doesn't have a team.
Same damn team.
No, really. And the Rams were both of our picks out of the NFC, so we did get that.
No, that's not. Are you sure about your picks?
I took the Rams.
I thought you had Tampa playing Cleveland.
No, I did not have Tampa. What? Where do you come up with this?
We may have to go back to the archives.
Go ahead, archive it up. I had Cleveland. That is correct. But I think Cleveland was a good team, just a lot of injuries. All right, so here's a couple props. And when you do these props, you have to decide whether it's worth doing because of the odds you have to lay. And that is a big component of some of these prop bets. But passing touchdowns, very simple prop bet, very simple. Over or under 1.5. Now, if you take under, you get $165 for $100 that you bet. If you take the over, you have to bet $225 just to win 100. So it looks like the easier bet is the one that's more risky in terms of the odds. But which way would you go with that? If you had to pick that bet on the board, would you lay those 2-1 odds, or would you try to get 1.5-1 and hope that there's less than 2 touchdowns?
What is the bet? What is the bet? I was reading a text. What is the bet?
Passing touchdowns over 1.5.
For who?
In the game.
for the entire game between the two quarterbacks?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely over.
Okay, so you're laying 2-1.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. Real quick before you go to your next prop,
That's kind
Daryl
of odd.
says, huh?
I just find that very low, that number 1.5.
I do too. I don't know. I mean, these two dudes can throw the damn football extremely well. Daryl says, good morning, guys. Shane, we all know that if the Bengals win on Monday, JC will have his Bengals hat on.
Well, I do have a Bengals hat. I do.
We do know that.
I tried to steal my friend's Bengals sweatshirt when they were playing, but he found it. Darn it. I do like the Bengals, man. I think they're cool. They're a rags to riches story. They truly are a rags to riches story. But and Joe Burrow, who doesn't like Joe Burrow? Gosh, I mean, even as an Alabama college football alumni fan and booster, I like the guy, and he beat us. But I think he's Joe Namath. I really do.
Rick says on Facebook Live, to hell with the odds, just pick a team. Well, we did. I mean, I think the Rams are going to win. I think the Rams are going to cover, Rick, but we have to pick the odds.
Well, the odds make it a little bit more challenging. I mean, team. Okay, so if you think the Rams are going to win by 4.5, obviously you're taking the Rams, right? I mean,
all right, what's our next prop bet?
You can bet on the Bengals. You can bet on the Bengals and still not win the game. So I think that's something to consider when you're doing this stuff. Now, my phone just went down. Okay, all right. So prop odds. First touchdown to score. Now, they have odds again. So who will score the first touchdown? Who do you think would be the favorite? There's two guys.
Cooper Kupp is the favorite.
Cooper Kupp is the favorite.
And Jamar Chase, I bet.
It's Joe Mixon. Here's the great thing about that. If it's an anytime touchdown, you have to lay odds because of the probability that those guys would get the touchdown. But if you want them to score the first touchdown, you get odds. So if you take Cooper Kupp and you bet $10, you can win 55. If you take Joe Mixon and you bet $10, you can win 75. If you take Jamar Chase to score the first touchdown, you can win $90 on a $10 bet.
Okay, so here's who I'm picking. I don't even know the odds, but I'm just going to pick a player. I think this is the first touchdown in the game, correct?
First touchdown.
As listeners are probably bored to hell right now.
You don't think this is interesting?
Tyler Higbee.
Well, he's going to be injured and not play, so try again.
He's hurt?
In all likelihood, he will not play. I read that.
Well, that sucks.
You can take Kendall Blanton, his replacement, and you can win $160 on a $10 bet.
No, I'm going to change. I didn't know he was hurt. Dadgummit.
Well, he might play, but they say it's very unlikely.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Van Jefferson scores.
Van Jefferson. Okay, so Van Jefferson gets you $160 on a $10 bet. Van Jefferson. I'm going to go, and that's plus 160. So anybody who bets these bets are just looking at odds. I'm just going to go with Odell Beckham and try to win $100 on a $10 bet. So I'm going to go with OBJ, and you've got Van Jefferson. So it's funny, we both picked Rams. All
right, we got to move on because we got Frangie. Go fast here, Jason.
Okay, well, that's right. We'll just go with that because I agree with you. This is too hard.
Well, back to the game. Who did you pick for the game?
The Rams.
Okay, so we both have the Rams. You have the under. I have the over.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Well, JC, we can't wait to see what you're wearing on Monday. All our loyal listeners can't wait because they know you could have black and orange on.
I like the Rams. I've always liked them. I don't know why. I'm not a big fan of LA, but I do like the team. So that's
all right. Well, we're going to go talk to Frangie, get his thoughts on the Super Bowl, and talk a little about Tony Pacelli. All right, JC, have a good weekend, my man.
All right, bud. We'll see you.
Let's say JC joins us on the Titan MR hotline. We're going to take a timeout, come back. We'll be joined by the voice of the Jacksonville Jaguars, get his thoughts on Doug Peterson, the new head coach of the Jags, and many other things. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avera and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios at Celebration Point. That's where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Nike, Regal Cinemas, Le Macaron, Dave & Buster's, Medici's, Palmetto Moon, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Now serving brunch on Saturday and Sundays. We'll see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. And don't forget, I think there's a few more spots available for the head ball coach meet and greet for the Super Bowl on Sunday. You can go get your picture taken with the HBC. And I know our next guest would love to do that. We're going to be joined by Frank Frangie on the Titan Tomorrow hotline. You want to go to watch the Super Bowl with the head ball coach at his restaurant, Frank?
Man, if I wasn't tied up, I'd go so fast. I haven't been there yet, but I'm the only guy like in America that hasn't been to the ball coach's restaurant. So I got to get to Gainesville, and I'm going to call you first, and you can meet me there because I got to get to that restaurant. Here it's fantastic. So, yeah, I'd love to go if I could.
It is. All right, Frank, I wanted to get you on. I want to get your thoughts first. There's a bunch of things I want to talk to you about. Obviously, first thing, Tony Baselli, he's your sidekick in the booth when y'all call Jaguar games. It's been a long time coming. Gets announced last night. He's going into the Hall of Fame. Just your thoughts.
Yeah, you know what? Number one, I'm biased. Shane, he's one of my best friends. I talk to him every day. He's a great guy. He is a good person. He's a perfect guy to be the first Jaguar in. He's a good father. He's a good husband. He's committed to his faith. And he was a great player, man. I'll say this. Shane, I've done this 40 years. Between Super Bowls and Rose Bowls and Sugar Bowls and Cotton Bowls, I've covered about everything at some point. And he's the best left tackle I ever saw. And I got to be honest, he's one of the best players I ever saw. It was perfect that Bruce Smith is the one that introduced him last night because his signature game was that game against Buffalo in that first year or the second year. So he's a terrific player. It's long overdue. I think he should have gone in before some people that went in before him. But, man, I'm thrilled for him. I can tell you he's excited, and he ought to be. It was a great night for him, and it was a great night for Jacksonville last night. It really was.
Yeah, and I was telling JC earlier, and you may not know this, both Baselli and I have something in common, Frank. In 1992,
right,
we were both Playboy All-Americans, and we're in Playboy magazine. How about that?
You know what? Of all of my friends, that's two I can see in Playboy magazine. Let me just say that. I hope you got to go to the mansion because you earned that. If you'd have asked me, hey, Frank, what two of your buddies were in the Playboy thing? Yeah, I'd have probably guessed you and Tony. So that's perfect. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I thought about that last night when I saw him being introduced. I was like, damn, he and I were on the Playboy All-American team together.
Perfect.
John says here on Facebook Live, maybe Tony Baselli can pave the way for Fred Taylor. I think he would be the next Jag in line. And if you look at Fred's stats, he needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
The most underrated player you'll ever see. Averaged 4.5 a carry for his entire career. Think about that number. And he did it on some bad teams, some good teams early on in his career, but some bad teams later on. The biggest problem he had, Shane, is that he was in that AFC with a bunch of future Pro Bowl guys. He was always there with Edgerrin James and Jerome Bettis and Curtis Martin, and all those guys were going to the Pro Bowl every year. So Fred only went to one Pro Bowl. Well, he was a way better player than that. But because he was in the AFC against teams from bigger markets, winning more games down the stretch than Fred did after those first few years, he kind of was a forgotten guy. I got to be honest with you. I thought he was a better football player than all those guys. Edgerrin James was a really good player. But I don't know that Jerome Bettis, top to bottom, was a better player than Fred Taylor. No. Curtis Martin certainly wasn't. But that group of AFC backs were getting the attention in the same era. But I agree with you, man. He belongs in the Hall, and I think he'll be the next Jaguar to go in.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it, and people kind of get on me a little bit about it, and I love Emmett, but I think Fred Taylor's the best running back I ever saw wear a Gator uniform.
Certainly the most talented. I mean, you talk about a guy that's 235 pounds and could change directions. And then when he hit top speed, forget about it. Emmitt Smith's a great player. Emmitt Smith, I don't know that I'd tell you Fred's a better player than Emmitt, but he certainly had more natural talent. He was a talented guy. Fred's a great guy, dude. Fred's still part of our broadcast, and we see Fred, and he's a humble guy too, Shane. And I can't wait till the day Fred gets in. I agree with you.
Yeah, John says here, if Fred Taylor plays in Dallas, he's already in Canton, and that's probably true.
Totally, 100% agree. 100%.
All right, let's switch gears. It was kind of a nightmare year for the Jags. They've made a transition now. They bring in Doug Peterson, who I don't know much about Doug. His career was a lot like mine. He sat on the sidelines for a long, long time, learned the game, has coached and won a Super Bowl. I think he's going to do wonders for Trevor Lawrence. Just your thoughts on the hire.
Yeah, I love it, Shane. He's a lot like you. You and I have been buddies a long time, and I think he thinks through football through the prism of a quarterback the way you do. So, no, I think that's a good comparison. Look, he's a regular guy. I got to meet him. I didn't know him. Got to meet him for the first time last week. We talked for about 10 minutes, and we've already planned how we're going to get together before games. And I thought, gosh, I just met this guy. He was real down to earth. Real smart football guy. What happened in Philadelphia, look, he was good. He won the Super Bowl there, but there was a power struggle. Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, sided with the general manager, Howie Roseman. What happened was they wanted him to fire Frank Reich, his offensive coordinator, and he said no, good thing, because it helped him win the Super Bowl, and then Reich got the Colts job. Then he brought in Mike Groh, the former Virginia quarterback, who you know who that is, and he brings in Mike Groh as his coordinator, and they make him fire him, so he fires him. So then he brings in this guy, Press Taylor, as his young coordinator, and they want him to fire him. And eventually Peterson, Shane, said, no, at some point, you got to let me build my staff here. Mm-hmm. And they weren't letting him do it. And so that was the power struggle that commenced. I think he's a really good coach. He'll be great for Trevor Lawrence. He's a regular guy that understands quarterbacking. Look, he's already built a staff. He was announced on Saturday, and those NFL staffs are big, as you know. And just about all of it's built, so he's ready to go. I'm really excited. And you're right, it was a disaster last year, and I never saw it going the way it went last year. So hopefully this is a passing game guy. Shane, you and I talk all the time about passing game guys versus running game guys, right? And this guy understands the passing game in the NFL. I can't wait to see him start.
Yeah, he's very creative too. That's what I like. The Press Taylor, you mentioned him. He is the brother of Zach Taylor, who is the head coach of the Bengals, correct?
Correct.
Is he going to be the quarterback coach or OC or both?
He's going to be the coordinator, but as you know, and I tell people this all the time, Doug's going to call the plays. There's this myth that the coordinator just calls the plays, and if you're a play caller, then the coordinator you have on your staff is really just a name. Well, that's not true. What Press is going to be the coordinator. I say that they haven't announced it yet, but that's all the word we're hearing. Press will be the coordinator. As you know, what that means, Shane, is he will build the game plan. He will evaluate the other team. He'll decide what plays are on the books. Doug will have some input into that, but he'll build it. Now on Sunday, Doug's going to call the plays. He's a play caller, but Press Taylor will build it, and he's going to be the offensive coordinator. Mike McCoy, by the way, the former head coach of the Chargers and quarterback coach and coordinator of the Broncos, looks like he's coming here as a quarterback coach. So they're going to surround Trevor with a lot of football people. I think even Jim Bob Cooter, who's been a coordinator in Detroit, is coming here in some capacity. So a lot of people that understand quarterbacking will be on this staff, it looks like.
That's awesome. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Speaking with Frank Frangie, the voice of the Jags. You can hear Frank weekly over in Jacksonville and 1010 XL. Andy has a Facebook Live brought to you by Meldon Law. He says, Frank, if you were the Jags general manager, what 3 positions would you draft or trade for?
Here's the 3 positions in order, Shane. Wide receiver, and then wide receiver. Those are my 3 positions. They did such a poor job of developing that spot. Now, look, the serious answer to that question is they probably need another offensive lineman or 2. I don't think they're bringing back Brandon Linder or Andrew Norwell. Cam Robinson is a free agent. They don't franchise him again. So probably offensive line would be the next spot. And then I think they need one more edge rusher, which is why they may do that at the top of the draft. But they've got to get receivers in here, man. That's the one thing. Think about this. Joe Burrow's great. But when he became really great is when they got Jamar Chase to go with Tyler Boyd, to go with T. Higgins. Then he was really great. Kyler Murray's a pretty good player, but he was a way better player when they traded for DeAndre Hopkins and paired him with Christian Kirk and Rondale Moore. That's what's working in our league. Get a young quarterback who understands the downfield passing game, who's got the talent to do it, and then surround them with playmakers. Shane, when you first got into the league, it seemed like wide receivers were kind of a dime a dozen. That day's changed, man. I know they tend to be divas sometimes, but good receivers, look what Cooper Kupp did for Los Angeles. Good receivers have changed teams, and that's what the Jags have to do that. They've got to get better receivers.
Yeah, I agree 100% because you talked about maybe adding offensive linemen, and I know the Jags haven't been great on the offensive line, but the Bengals are horrible. But if you have a quarterback that understands the game, knows when to get rid of the football, knows his protection schemes, knows his heights, you can see what Joe Burrow has done, and you can make up for that. I mean, obviously, you'd love to have 5 Pro Bowlers up there, but it's just not possible. You have to throw the football in today's football to win. And I think the Jags, as you said, I think they need to go find 3 studs at wide receiver and go from there.
I've always said this, and you and I have joked about this offline, but I'll say this again. Our dear friend Danny Werfel, who was in town last week, is one of the best guys of all time. I love Danny. There's not a better guy anywhere than Danny Werfel, and I think the world of the guy. But I do wonder if my friend Shane Matthews, had Ike Hilliard, Reed L. Anthony, Jack West Green, how his life would have, what would, and look, you were 2-time SEC Player of the Year anyway, but I'm just telling, and that's no disrespect to Willie or to Monty Duncan or to Harrison Houston or anybody else that played, Aubrey Hill, God rest his soul, but I'm just wondering if you know what I mean, and I say, I'm just using that as an example. I could pick any quarterback in this day and age, hell, even that day and age, if you have guys that are always open and make plays after the catch, that's what we need here. We don't have that here now, and we got to get that. It's a big, big, big thing.
I agree. All right, let's look at the Super Bowl. Obviously, I picked back in August, I picked the Rams to play Buffalo, with Buffalo winning. That ain't happening, but the Rams are there. It's a great story with Joe Burrow. He's got a chance to be the first quarterback to win the Heisman, National, and the Super Bowl. How you see this game playing out?
Yeah, it's, I think, a low-scoring game. As good as the Bengals have been, they haven't scored a lot in the playoffs, and the Rams are built for low-scoring games. That's why those Rams 49ers games were pretty good. I think it's going to be low scoring. I think it's in the 20s. I think the Rams are going to win. I don't think Cincinnati can find enough offense against that defense. Now, I said last week the Chiefs, or the last game, the Chiefs would beat the Bengals because the Bengals couldn't find enough offense to keep up. But you know what? They kept it. The Bengals defense kept them in the game for Joe Burrow to make one more play, and Evan McPherson, who makes everything, makes one more kick. But I think it's a defensive game. I don't think it's pretty. I think there's some turnovers. I think there's some punts. I think you're going to look up in the fourth quarter and somebody's up 17-13 and someone's going to make a play late. I think it's going to be a good game, Shane. But I think the Rams have too many good defensive players against a Cincinnati offense that can sputter. I think Burrow's great. I just talked about how much I like his receivers, but I think that offense at times can sputter. I like the Rams in a close, low-scoring game. It's going to be fun, though. It'll be old-school football. We don't see that a lot anymore. That's what I think you're going to get.
No, I love Joe Burrow. I like Matt Stafford. I was telling JC earlier, I was doing radio because he and Tebow are the same age. They played against each other, and I remember getting just blasted on radio talking about how I thought Matt Stafford's going to be a long-time NFL guy, and he will play a lot longer than Tebow. People didn't like that. And I said about Burrow, when he came out of LSU, Frank, he reminded me of Tom Brady with athleticism. And he's lost a little bit of that because of his knee injury. But, boy, he's so accurate, knows where to go with the football. And I just think he's a really, really good player. And isn't it amazing? If that kid does not transfer from Ohio State, he's probably selling insurance in Ohio somewhere.
It's pretty amazing. That part of it's pretty amazing. The amount of Ohio State receivers, Jameson Williams wasn't going to play at Ohio State. And he might have been the best receiver in the country when he went to Alabama. No, you're right about that. I think your take on Burrow is good. He plays like Tom Brady. You know, you got to be careful saying that because people say, you're comparing him to Tom Brady. I'm not comparing him. You're talking about his playing style, how quickly he gets the ball out, how quickly he gets through progressions, how quickly he does those full field reads and all of a sudden knows who's open, throws the ball similar. It's kind of a similar throw in motion. I agree with you. I think his playing style, no one's saying he's as good as Tom Brady. Nobody is. But his playing style is much like Brady's. And you know what? I like about him, I don't think he takes himself too seriously. He seems like, look, like you said, this is a guy that came from not very much, as he talked about during his Heisman speech, was buried on the depth chart at Ohio State, transferred to LSU. People still didn't really know who he was. His first year, they were okay, lost to UCF in the bowl game. All of a sudden, the next year, everything happened for him. I think because of everything he went through, He doesn't take it too seriously. I'm a big Joe Burrow fan. I think the league needs more guys with his temperament that are like him. And I'm a big Patrick Mahomes fan, not because he's such a great player, but he's another guy that's not a diva. He doesn't take himself too seriously. I think he's funny in the commercials. I think the league needs more people like that. Yeah, I'm a big Joe Burrow fan too.
All right, before we let you go, we know you're a Gator. I want to get your thoughts on the Gator basketball team real quick.
It's funny. Myron Jones couldn't throw. He came billed as this great shooter, couldn't throw it in the ocean. I mean, He couldn't. I mean, he was shooting air balls, and all of a sudden he turns into Lee Humphrey, and he can't miss anything. He's swishing them. Now, maybe I guess it was just revealed he had a broken finger on the offhand, and obviously that had to affect him some. Here's what I think about their team overall. They can't shoot. If he's not making them, they're in trouble. Appleby sometimes makes it. By the way, what I like about Myron Jones and Kwesi Reeves, Shane, they're both looking to shoot it. They want to catch and shoot it. They're catch and shoot guys. Everybody, even Appleby's not sure what's a good shot. He'll pass up a good one for what he thinks is a better one, and he probably should have taken the first one. I think they're gritty. I think they have a toughness to them. I like Mike White. I'm a kind of a Mike White fan. I know not everybody is. I'll probably get booed off your show for that. But I like Mike. I think they play with a toughness. All his teams do, but they've got to get better offensively. I don't think they've got a great team. I think they got to get to 9 wins. They're 6-5 in the league. They got to find in these final 7 games. They've got to find 3 more wins somewhere. It ain't going to be this week. They're not going to win at Rupp, but they've got to find 3 more wins, and I think they get in. I think it's like they've been the last handful of years. I think they're tough nosed. I don't think they're a great shooting team, and it's going to be down to the wire to see whether or not they get in.
Yep. And with Billy Napier, I don't know if we've talked to you since they've hired him. To me, he's done a phenomenal job in the short period of time. He's changed a lot. He's got a plan. Just your thoughts on his recruiting class and moving forward with Billy Napier.
You know what he's done, Shane? He's made it cool to go to Florida. Florida's now the party. Now, he didn't get them all this year because he didn't know them. But you watch all of a top 5 recruiting class next year. Florida hasn't been the cool party to go to. The parties have been in Athens and Tuscaloosa and Columbus and Clemson. That's the cool party for them, whether it's because of their facilities and their water slides or because the coach connects with the guys. That's been the cool place for the good recruits to go. And it hasn't been Florida, which is a shame, but it hasn't been. It looks like he's turning that and the facility, which is probably one of the reasons he took the job, the impending facility. It looks like Florida's a cool place to visit again. It's the cool place to consider again. Oh, yeah, and I don't know. I'm sure you've met him. I haven't met Billy, but he seems like a regular guy. I haven't met him yet.
I've been waiting until things settle down to go over.
Yeah, but he seems like a good guy. He understands recruiting. Look, Shane, they all come from the corporation, the Saban Corporation. Kirby Smart came from the Saban Corporation. Jimbo Fisher came from the Saban Corporation. The corporation is build a beautiful facility, have about 150 employees, have everybody involved in one thing, and that's bringing players to your campus. And I think Billy's like that too. I can't wait. Now, I don't know what he's like as a coach. Does he throw it? Does he run it? Is he a good play caller? We'll worry about that in the fall, I guess. But I'm excited about the energy he's created. I really am.
Yeah, I am too. All right, Frank. What time's tea time today?
You know what? I got too much work here. Let me tell you what happened. So I got the COVID. Have you had COVID yet? You had COVID?
I have not had COVID one time.
Okay, good for you. I finally got COVID.
At least I don't think. I mean,
right. Well, I finally got. So in my job, football season, we do football, and then we kind of meet with clients in the off season. And I missed like a week and a half at home with COVID. Didn't even feel bad, by the way, but I had COVID for about a week and a half. So I got to get caught up on my work. But I got to get back on the golf course. I mean, the separation between your like 1.2 index and my 12 is such a big gap now. I can't even play with you until I start playing a little bit more. That's the problem.
Well, I've been doing too much work as well, so I haven't played quite as much as I'd like. But I'm getting ready to start, especially when the time changes. So,
me too.
Frank, we appreciate you taking the time to join our program. If you want to check Frank out, it's Monday through Friday, 1010XL, 3:00.
3:00. That's right.
All right, good stuff, Frank. Appreciate it, my man.
Okay, Shane. Take care.
That's Frank Frangie. Join us on the Titan MR Highline. I'm going to take a time out, come back, wrap up this Friday edition.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Wrap Spot, Okito America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
This is Steve Spurrier, and you're invited to hang out with me at the biggest watch party of the year.
You heard the head ball coach. You're invited to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill Sunday, February 13th for the biggest game of the year as Cincinnati takes on Los Angeles, and Spurrier's will be celebrating the game all day. The fun kicks off at 5:30 with the Coach Spurrier meet and greet, and football watch party begins. Then watch the big game at 6:40 p.m. But hurry, spots are limited. Make your reservations now at spurriers.com. That's spurriers.com.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. At South State Bank, we understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. South State has 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, banking forward, member FDIC. I want to thank JC and Frank Frangie joining us on the Titan MR hotline. This day in sports brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. Comfort Temp's hiring team members with all levels of experience. $1,000 signing bonus for qualified positions. Give Comfort Temp a call, 352-376-2366. This day in sports in 1990, in a huge upset, James Buster Douglas knocks out Mike Tyson in the 10th round in Tokyo to win the World Heavyweight Boxing title. I remember I was in Yon Hall when that happened in 1990. Remember that day for sure, or that night, I should say. Hope you enjoyed today's program, folks. So we got a couple of Facebook Lives brought to you by Mellon Law before we get out of here. Rick says the Vikings land Chris Rump as their new defensive line coach. I don't even know who the Vikings hired as their coach. I should know that. I didn't know they hired somebody. But good for Rump. Rump's a really good guy and a great football coach, and coached his son at Buchholz. So I got the Rams winning 33-23. Is my pick. And Matt Stafford, who I like both these quarterbacks. By the way, I meant to tell JC, I think this is the first time in the history of the Super Bowl, both quarterbacks wear number 9. So I like them both. No question about it. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Today's show is a wrap brought to you by Wrap Spot. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll see you on Monday.